A marketing lead becoming sales ready should feel seamless, but for a lot of businesses, that's where momentum is actually lost. Here's how we move a lead from an MQL to an SQL without dropping the ball. You're going to want to steal this strategy. One of the big painful processes that we see in a lot of businesses is actually the transition from for a lead.
I already know what you're going to say.
From marketing to sales.
Agreed.
So painful.
Marketing generates the lead, but then what? It just gets flicked over to sales with no context, no urgency, no setup, no background information.
No context. Yes.
And so the result can be sometimes a slow follow-up, because then the sales team might be following up.
Which is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, they might be following up leads that they feel comfortable about. It can be that, like they have to come back to you for more information. That creates delays. Like the whole process, if it's clunky, it just means that all that marketing that you did becomes wasted, or you have a really great experience in the marketing piece and then a really bad experience in the sales piece. And to be fair, that doesn't mean it's the sales team's fault.
No, it's that middleman who doesn't exist.
Yeah. The bridge.
Yeah.
Let's change the analogy. It's the bridge. It's the bridge. Yeah.
Those two pieces coming together are so key to that customer journey and experience. And if you're not doing it right, you're going to miss opportunities and you're going to let people down.
The first thing you really have to be clear on is what makes a lead sales ready. When does a lead go from MQL to SQL? So when does it go from a marketing qualified lead to a sales qualified lead? It's not the second that you get their contact details.
No.
Like if they just download an ebook, that doesn't mean they're actually ready to move to the SQL stage. So if you can define that, and it could be fit for business, so it could be the things that you have on your form, so that you're really clear. It could be the action that they've taken. So maybe it is, yes, that they've downloaded a form, but then they've also gone to a sales page multiple times. So it's really about being clear on, well, what does it look like for that process of when the bridge from when it goes from MQL to SQL.
And having an understanding of what the intent is at each of those stages and what comes next. So I guess like if you did download a lead funnel, for example, what does come next? And is that a harder sell? If so, maybe the sales team does come in. If it's another softer sell because that lead funnel, lead magnet was quite early in the piece, maybe it's still with marketing. Like it's very bespoke to the journey that you map out.
And a good example too is pay attention to the information that you're given. I recently downloaded like a homework sheet for my kids, and of course it was gated behind an email, which I was like, tick, marketing. And one of the things they asked me in the form was they wanted my email address and they wanted to know if I was a parent or a teacher. I put parent. Then I got bombarded with emails in the next 5 days that were all directed to teachers.
Oh,
yeah. So it really was a case of, why did you ask me that for starters? I actually downloaded another one as well because the other one took a little while to come. The other one was a similar situation though. They also asked me if I was a parent or a teacher, but then they rang me within an hour. Yeah. I'm not going to buy from them. The resources that they have, they're really directed towards teachers. I just wanted a quick little download. So they were actually wasting their time as well. So with one of them, I had a bad experience because they didn't pay attention to the information I gave. And the second one, I had a bad experience because they got too intense, too pushy. Like, give me a chance.
Yeah. I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah. I haven't even used it. The kids haven't given me the feedback yet.
Yeah. It's too early. I guess the other thing to think about here is that it's not a linear approach. Like, for example, we recently had a client, they had bought in leads through their marketing and then that had been carried over to the sales team. The sales team had followed up. And then there was a sort of a little bit of a gap where they hadn't received a response, but that lead, and it was more than one, had then gone back through a marketing funnel, but had been lost in the process.
Yeah. So it's this confusion of we're talking about a bridge between MQL and SQL.
Yeah.
But being clear of that, sometimes
There's more than one bridge.
Will have multiple marketing touch points.
Yeah.
And so how do you make sure that it doesn't just then get lost or the sales process starts again? We literally had that the other day. A software provider of ours, we had a meeting with them, and then we got an email the next week that's obviously because we'd moved into the funnel in a different way. We got an email from them the next week that said, "Hi, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm your new rep." And we were like, "What do you mean? You've had a meeting with us. There was actions from that meeting. We asked you for something, but we must have popped back into a MQL and then was pushed back through, and they've not looked again at any of their data."
Yeah. And whether they've actually got that data.
Yeah.
Like that is such a gap.
Maybe they weren't looking because it wasn't there.
Yeah,
which is worse.
Exactly.
So that's probably a really key thing too, is what data are you collecting, in what systems, and who has access to look at it, and has everybody been trained on how to look at it? Yeah.
So with all this information that you get from a marketing perspective, you should be giving the sales team context. Like they've interacted with this page. They came through this meta ad, which was about this particular product. Or they downloaded this piece of information. That is so useful for the sales team to better have like a bespoke conversation with the lead.
Yep. One of our things is even, they come through the funnel, say for us, and they come through as a website lead, but then we notice that they've been looking at different services as well.
Yes.
So from our perspective, it means that the conversation we can have, we're not going to keep it just to websites. We're going to make sure that we really mention the other things that we do. If we didn't have that information, maybe we'd think, I don't want to bother them and bombard them with other information. So information is critical if you use it.
Another key piece of advice with the way that technology is now is leverage automation where you can. Have the systems in place that do allow you to do that, so that it's not all manual, because that's just relying on people to remember things and,
and not just, it can be manual, but templated even. So some businesses may not be at the stage where they can set up automations, but don't be starting from scratch every single time. You should have sales templates of the frequent things that you send out, and you just customize elements of that each time. Yeah. And, make sure that you're clear on what your capability statements are, what ones you can use in what circumstances. So it's really about mapping it all out. And then as you get more sophisticated in this process, then you can start bringing in automations. Like automations have been around for ages, and workflows. Everyone's excited about AI, but those things aren't new. They've been around for ages. So it's like, let's look at what your process is, and then let's look at where we can be more efficient while still having the human touch.
And that's defining those triggers along the customer journey. That should be part of that mapping, so that you do know what triggers the next step. And that might even just be a task to check in, or it could be a task to phone. Like it's just making sure that the next part of the picture is accountable and knows what they need to do.
I think the big thing is that the handover from marketing to sales shouldn't feel like there's a fumble of a baton in a relay race. I love it. I love analogies.
What happened to the bridge?
It's this idea of making, they practice that, and those relays, they practice that over and over again, just that handover, because they understand how critical that is. So if we can just make sure that that process is mapped and we're really clear on what that handover looks like, that is where the success is going to lie, between that MQL to SQL situation.
And I think to finish that off, close the loop. So yes,
finish the race, start the race again.
This customer converted. You've had this many conversions from a particular meta ad campaign. Let marketing know, because then they'll start building the budget on that campaign. It's a two-way street.
Definitely. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the marketing to sales side of things, but it is that loop. It's not just one directional, and it shouldn't be. Everybody's part of the same team. They're just different departments within that team.
And learn from each other. Steal this strategy.